Welcome to Subramani. One question which people keep asking me and I thought I should do a video on is asset allocation. Should you do, when should you do, why should you do, all those questions. So let us look at the reasons why you would do an asset allocation. One, you would do because tactically you need some money right away, maybe in 2 years time or 3 years time. So that money will go from obviously from equity into ultra short bond fund or a liquid fund, so that you can use that money within the next 2-3 years whenever you need it. Does it mean in this period the market won't go up? No, market might go up, but your view on the market does not matter. What matters is you need the money for that goal. Maybe you require it 2022 or 2023. So substantial portion of that you will remove and keep it into less volatile asset class. It could even be an arbitrage fund, it could be a liquid fund, it could be a ultra short bond fund. That is one thing. Second is to reduce the concentration. Your assets are extremely concentrated. You got too much of real estate, or you got too much of gold, or you got too much of equity, and you do not have enough in the other asset classes. This is very common, especially among doctors. If you see, I found excessive real estate, not enough equity, not enough debt funds. So they would be in asset classes like real estate, life insurance policies, bank fixed deposits, and little bit of equity mutual funds and little bit of debt mutual funds. Needs tremendous amount of reallocation of assets. The third is, anyway, annually we all should be looking at our assets and see what is giving us comfort. Is this giving us comfort? Are we being over optimistic by being too much in equity? Are we being very pessimistic by being too much in liquid funds? So once in a while, having a look at our own attitude towards risk and return is also necessary and useful. And whenever there is some event happening in your life, could be birth of a child, and could be child planning to do a different study. For example, you kept money for your daughter to do medicine in class just after class 12, that when she's 18. But when she's 13 or 14, she decides that she's not going to be doing science, she's going to be doing CA. So obviously you do not require so much money. So much money can get reallocated maybe towards your own retirement or towards your daughter's education. Maybe she wants to study abroad after doing her CA. So that means you got another 6-7 years time in which she will finish her 10th, 12th, and then do her CA. So that money, maybe it can go into more equity and less of debt, because the reallocation of the goal has happened. When the goal has got changed, this will also happen. 2-3 important things in this is, first, to have your own investment philosophy statement. I'm going to talk about this philosophy statement more often. I've done a video on it in the past. And maintain an investment diary. I've spoken about investment diary also, which will record all your feelings. Once you do all this, your asset allocation becomes easy. Trying to do asset allocation on your own without an IFA or without a sounding board seems to be very difficult, because at some age you will decide that, oh, I will get into more of debt maybe once I am 58. Then when you're 58, you will say, okay, I feel good now, so maybe I'll do it at 60. Then you will say, let me do it at 65. Then you do not know when to buy your annuity. You tell everybody you should buy it at 67, but you say, oh, it's not so efficient from a tax point of view, right? So you will keep postponing some of those things. So have somebody else to do your review. Either you have an IFA already, or if you are yourself an IFA, then maybe a friend or somebody else should be doing your asset allocation strategy, and not you on your own, because you might skip some steps, or you might be overconfident, or you might be over pessimistic. Right now, during this pandemic times, greater chance that you will be pessimistic. You should revisit your asset allocation at least once a year, but after the age of 60, if there is not going to be much dynamism, then maybe you invest your lesser time there. So maybe you do it once in 3 years. Or you say, okay, I will do a review every year, but I will take action only once in 5 years. But for taking action, you have to have your set rules. You have to say, I will not go beyond so much in equity. If equity gives a 42% return, I will sell 15% of my equity. If the market gives 60% return, I'll sell 25% of my equity, right? You have to make those rules. That is there in your investment philosophy statement. So please make those rules. Because without the rules, you cannot monitor, right? Without traffic rules, you drive, you know what it is. Red signal means stop. You have been told, you have been taught, right? Therefore, you obey it. And if you don't obey it, there will be a challan for you because there is somebody who is implementing it, right? So first come the rules. So first comes your investment philosophy statement. And then a diary writing down how you felt in March, how you felt in April, how you felt about the virus, how did you feel about the so much of commentary that you hear, the blogs that you read, right, the vlogs that you see, right, the one like Subramani. So based on all that, your mental makeup will decide also on your asset allocation. So somebody like a Niranjan Hirandani, maybe 70% or 80% in real estate, and somebody like Rakesh Jhunjhunwala, maybe 95% in equity, right? So it depends on your own comfort level, you will do your asset allocation. But it is always nice if somebody else were to do it with you, because that person's view will also be considered. You should re-examine even when there is some other major change in your life, like your if there's a divorce, if there's a marriage, if a child goes away, right? If a son gets married and your daughter-in-law also comes to stay with you. Now these are not really very major, but you may have to reconsider how you are going to treat the whole thing, even in your asset allocation. If you do not want to rebalance, there has to be a very strong reason why you do not want to rebalance. I think that should go into your diary saying, this time I've decided I will not rebalance and these are my views. Because once you write down your views, after a couple of months, if there is any change in your view, that can become the basis. So if you have decided that in the month of April you will do your asset allocation and a reallocation strategy, maybe in September you look at it and say, I wish I make some changes, and you make the changes. It's okay. It's a dynamic thing, right? You don't have to say I will make it only in the month of April. It's okay to make it in the month of September if need be. There are various ways of rebalancing. Now suppose there is a very a retired person with say 70% in equity, and out of that 70%, 40%, okay, is or 50% is in the ESOP which he had got over the years. So you're talking of very concentrated high risk equity portfolio for a person who is retired. Does he need that? Maybe he doesn't need that. If he doesn't need that, that is enough reason to do an asset allocation. However, people are not very happy doing an asset allocation when you ask them to sell the shares that on which they made so much money, right? So what do you do? It's very simple. You tell him that all luxuries will be funded by selling off the equity in the company in which he was working. Maybe it's HDFC Bank, maybe it's Infosys. So if he wants to buy a car for 20 lakhs, out go the shares of the company in which he worked. Maybe it is whichever company it is. He wants a Europe trip, will cost 15 lakhs, that's it. And one more thing which one can do to reduce volatility in your portfolio or reduce the concentration is meet your household expenses by selling equity, that portion of it which you think is inflated. So let us for a minute assume that the shares of HDFC are quoting at 1,000 rupees and you need 40,000 rupees or 50,000 rupees for your household expenses. Sell 50 shares every month. Is it a big amount? No, but somehow what happens is it means you will not touch your liquid fund, you will not touch your ultra short bond fund, you will not touch any other class of assets. You will just be selling HDFC or whichever company, let's say it's HDFC Bank. So you will be selling 50 shares of HDFC Bank every month to meet your 50,000 rupee household expenses. Now suppose the price goes to 1200 rupees, then you sell 40 shares. If the price falls to 500 rupees, then you sell 1000, you sell 1000 shares, right? So depending on how much the price moves, you change your views on the company in terms of the quantum. So you're not really changing your views, you're saying my household expenses for the next 5 years will be met by HDFC Bank. So if I have to sell, if the price is 1000 rupees, I have to sell 50 shares. If the price is 500 rupees, I have to sell 100 shares. It's as simple as that. Thank you.